Hi everyone, I'm Creatine.
And I am Aditya.
And welcome to Dhikichyau The Podcast. This is our very first video podcast. Ani hamro first video podcast ko लागि we have a very special guest.
He is my longtime friend and my coach. He is an IPF listed powerlifter. He is a level 1 CrossFit coach, a level 2 powerlifting coach, and he's won multiple times in Pomple organized गर्ने powerlifting events and हाम्रो gymkhanaले organized गर्ने barbenders. And he is the under 93 junior champion of Thailand, and he's second in the Open under 93. So please help me in welcoming Tyson Moktan. What's up?
All good, man. Quite a humble introduction, but first of all, thank you all so much for having me as your first video guest. Your podcast khatra huncha, so
thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for joining us in this series that we're trying to do. So, Suruma, do you want to, let's get right into it. I just want to start with asking you about your fitness journey. And I mean, start गरेदेखि हैन, where did you start and like अहिले यहाँसम्म, like with all the intro,
like what how exactly ignited that fire in you, like fitness कसरी, like where, how did you start?
So यो चाहिँ is like from the time I remember नै भनौँ न, because I am very young एक हिसाबले, not compared to you guys, but like from a very young age म चाहिँ like आफ्नो, what do you say, so आफ्नो family मा पनि I'm the very youngest अनि I studied fast, so I was always like class ma pani sabhanda phutche. So I never wanted to lose khalke euta mentality chai afai bhayira थियो, and I always had to work like extra hard to just be on level with everybody else. And that's what started mero drive of, you know, working hard, working extra hours, like school ma football haru khella dekhi nai. So that's something त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ I'm very competitive. जे कुरामा पनि I just want to be, you know, outwork everybody, work harder than everybody. So त्यसरी चाहिँ the fire ignited भनौँ न एक हिसाबले. अनि like powerlifting गर्दाखेरि पनि I'm always the youngest. अहिले त होइन, but when we started out there was no junior classes, यताउति कहिले पनि थिएन. So I was always the very youngest. I had to work, obviously सानो हुँदा त you have to work extra hard भनौँ न to just be on the level with everybody else. So that's something that in मेरो fire भित्रको competitive edge चाहिँ त्यसरी निकालेको हो. So that was always the thing. अनि growing up चाहिँ I played tennis professionally नै भनौँ न अब नेपालको national ranks मा. So I could compete with people my age. So obviously I was one of the better guys भनौँ न. I don't want to say I was the best. I've won a couple of times under 12, under 14, under 16, or I've won a couple of times, lost plenty as well. So त्यो processले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ everything is led into this thing. अनि when I was 16, like junior rank सक्यो नि त tennisबाट. So I started working out, and I really needed a competitive outlet. So आफ्नो what do you say, I needed competitive outlet. अनि स्कुलहरु पनि ठ्याक्क हाई स्कुल पनि सकेको थियो, like 12 मेरो 16 हुँदै सकिसकेको थियो. So I was very young. So I needed a competitive outlet एउटा. So त्यो भएर चाहिँ बडी बिल्डिङहरु गर्थे, तर बडी बिल्डिङमा नि त्यही थियो. At the time there was no junior divisions, and I was good for my age. Like people would say so I don't know, but I was good for my age. अनि त्यही हो, competitive outlet नभएर एक दिन पम्पले चाहिँ powerlifting थियो भने. So I thought, why not? Competing is, you know, like my bread and butter. I was competing from the age of 7. So that's when I started powerlifting. Ani rest is history, and all these things happened. In short, man.
So you started when you were 16, and early you just turned 24 this week.
Yeah, so officially not a junior, I would say. So the junior number 1, now I have to make that open number 1. So we're working on that as well.
So we kind of started like gym ma चाहिँ I don't know सँगै भनौँ 6 years back or something. So त्यति बेलादेखि र अहिले, what are the things that you see a change in, like the culture, fitness culture in Nepal, also the industry, and with people around? Are there any differences that you see?
Definitely, sabai kura evolves over time. Ani I started working out खासमा 2013 मा, so that's close to कति भयो?
13,
8 years,
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years. But I was very on and off. I was still trying to play tennis, but I couldn't, you know, really compete with the open guys. And lost the edge, or the competitive edge, when you lose going. So I was back and forth with gym and playing futsal, basketball यस्तोहरू नै खेलिरहेको हुन्थ्यो. So on and off थियो. So त्यो बेलाको चाहिँ I don't know so much, but like you said, like 6 7 years देखि, like since the time we met at Jasmine, a lot of things have changed, you know. Like धेरै नै कुरा चेन्ज भइसक्यो त्यो बेलादेखि त. So like कस्तो कुरामा चाहिँ we want to go, like equipments कि मान्छेहरुको
like मान्छेहरुको perspective also I think.
Yeah.
Like how did people, like त्यति बेला कस्तो थियो?
So
fitness ko scenario in Nepal and how is it now?
So त्यो बेला चाहिँ like most of the people who go into the gym were only going to, you know, going for external reasons, भनौँ न, so to make a better body or to compete in bodybuilding. यस्तो कुरा मात्रै गरिरहेको थियो. But now I see a lot more people who just want to be healthier, who just want to be fitter, come into the sport नै भनौँ न, since it's like we compete, so it's a sport. So I've seen a lot of new people come into the sport, not for any external reasons, but for themselves. And obviously that's a very good thing. Ani training pani, like when I started training, it was, we call it bro science भन्छ क्या हामीले चाहिँ. So त्यो भनेको चाहिँ it's very anecdotal भनौँ न. It's not like facts हुँदैन. उनीहरूले जे feel गर्यो, महसुस गर्यो, त्यसलाई चाहिँ they put it into action.
Experience wise.
And some of it is just because someone, my guru said so भन्ने mentality बाट चाहिँ
it's not backed up with science.
It's not backed up with science, but now people are being more aware, and even people from that generation who were once bros are trying to adopt newer techniques, newer training styles, and they're accepting other forms of exercises, because त्यो बेला चाहिँ most of the time they were like, oh हामी bodybuilding मात्रै गर्नुपर्छ, bodybuilding is one all be all, or like boxing गर्यो and you shouldn't be weight training, or like if you're playing sports, if weight training will make you heavier, slower, यस्तो भन्ने. So now we're in I think the transition phase, and a lot of people are already adopting the modern way of fitness, and कोही चाहिँ like बेसी नै modern भएर चाहिँ they're forgetting the roots. So we're in the mix. So I think slowly over time we'll
forgetting
find the
roots मतलब
पहिलाको चाहिँ like go hard or go home, there is no pain, there is no victory without pain, pain is pleasure, यस्तो भन्ने mentality बाट थियो. अनि अहिलेहरुको चाहिँ you don't need pain, you don't need soreness, you don't need suffering भनेर science भनेर they try to get away by doing things easily भनौँ न. So right now चाहिँ obviously we need the balance of both worlds. So there are people on that side of the spectrum and that side of the spectrum. अहिलेको scenario ma चाहिँ we're coming in closer to what's optimal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Really, I remember while we were starting out, it was there was no, I mean, calling the powerlifting, the CrossFit, when it was just coming up because pump play or that, I guess. And I found out about CrossFit, the pump ma dekhera matra. It was all about bodybuilding and going to the gym. Also, like you said, external uharu kita like weight cut on थियो 6 महिनामा यस्तो बन्छु उस्तो बन्छु. I think that was the motivation for most people. I think it still is while going to the gym. People who start, I'm like alikati overweight or something right now, or I'm like underweight and I need to reach 80 in this period of time. So what do you think of that? Like, is that a right motivation to go into fitness?
So motivation, you said a lot of things. What the Suruko question?
Okay, so like let's start from the basics, like what exactly is physical fitness? Because like both of you guys, I know like you guys are very passionate about bodybuilding and like mostly you guys are talking about either macros or gym or but like for the viewers, whoever is listening, whoever is watching this simple words what is physical fitness? Let's go that route.
So it can be defined in a lot of ways that I think CrossFit has defined. I don't want to say this because it might be controversial, especially in Nepal. But they've said something really good, and we have to take it with a grain of salt and some context, which we'll talk about later. But they've defined fitness as being fit across different domains and for a long period of time. So different domains, they've included metabolic conditioning, cardio, gymnastics, and weightlifting. So tinta kurama चाहिँ you have to be able to, do certain things like basic tasks, general physical preparedness science hamroलाई. And fitness ko they've given 10 physical traits. I don't want to really delve into it, but some of the common ones are strength, stamina, balance, flexibility, coordination, agility, all those things. We have to be prepared for anything that could come in handy. So that is general physical fitness. So, and obviously not being overweight. That's a big part as well. But if you have all of those things, and like if you're very fit, you can run a marathon and you can deadlift 200 kilos, you're not going to be fat for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the word fat again.
मलाई अर्को कुरा चाहिँ हैन because a lot of people think that being fit is looking fit and how much of it is like, do you really need abs? Like abs bhako मान्छे who's like, I don't know, 6%, 7%, 5% like body fat ma bhako, like would you consider that being like extremely healthy, or like how would you define a fit or healthy person?
So fit bhanepachi it's not only physical, it's also mental, I know.
Yeah.
I've been very lean in the past. I don't want to say 5, 6, 7%, but very lean in the past. But just to I feel like you're not mentally very healthy. First of all, we start to develop eating disorders like yo khandina. That's obviously not healthy for social circle, friends, family, that's not very healthy. And also being exceptionally lean, like sabaiko different set points huncha. Mine might be different, yours might be different, but हामी सबैको एउटा general set point चाहिँ हुन्छ 10% to 20% for males, and you can add like 8% for females. So that would be like a very general stage where you would be considered fit or healthy body composition wise.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically it. अनि एकदमै lean हुनु चाहिँ like हाम्रो body को hormonal functions हुन्छ, हाम्रो joint health, हाम्रो कपाल, हाम्रो skin, सबै कुराको लागि पनि we need some amount of body fat. अनि त्यो भएपछि चाहिँ then we need to have all the previous traits that we talked about.
So technically, like lean or very skinny is not exactly fit.
No, definitely not. You need some amount of muscle. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to weigh 110 kilos. But you need some amount of muscle, some amount of all the physical traits that we talked about. And I think a good physique is just a byproduct of it. So physique matrai focus garera, you might not necessarily be healthy or fit. So if you have like a six-pack, there are high chances that you're fit because it takes a lot of effort, a lot of dieting, cardio, weight training. So there are high chances of probability that you are fit, but there are other ways to get that as well. So we don't, we cannot consider all. जसरी भयो नि जिउ भने नि हेल्दी चाहिँ भन्नु मिल्दैन.
मैले चाहिँ यो कुरा why I bring this up is because a lot of people starting out, they idealize people like जस्तै इन्स्टाग्रामहरुमा हुन्छ नि, the Instagram models who have six pack abs or like केटीहरुले follow गर्ने who have a certain kind of physique हुन्छ नि. But मैले पनि पहिले start out गर्दाखेरि, and many people who start out, they start out with following and idolizing these kind of physique and these kind of people. But then like later when you actually do some research and find out, they're not the best credible sources to get your information and get your, I don't know, inspirations from.
Definitely, because I think that is also marketing just to sake Instagram आजकल. And I've been very active on Instagram for the past how many years, but what we show on Instagram, or like what people, so I don't want to speak for everybody, so I want to say what I show on Instagram is what I want people to see. And I have pictures when I was leaner so that I can post daily, but that doesn't mean that is my reality and I'm always very lean or I'm always very strong. People think I'm strong all the time, but I'm not. Like right now, I'm not the strongest version of me because I don't compete in 6 months, but when I post my lifts, I just post the very good ones, obviously. So that could change the thing. And obviously, like you said, we should not be choosing our idols or coaches or anything based on how they look, how they look, what they've won, everything. Because winning mapan, there's a lot of different factors that go into winning. But हामीले हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we have to look at the broad spectrum. So उसले train गराएको clientsहरु कस्तो छ, because my approach for Aditya might be different against how I go with Kritisha, भनौं न एक हिसाबले, because I have to look at a lot of external factors that's affecting your performances at the gym. Ani sabaiको individual differences huncha. But if you, and I have clients ranging from, you know, like भर्खरै एकदमै overweight but trying to lose weight against the best powerlifters in Nepal भनौं न. So सबैजनालाई differently approach गर्ने, अनि उनीहरुको clientsहरुको चाहिँ sustainability, adherence, injuries यस्तोहरु हेरेर चाहिँ I think we should decide our idols. And obviously उनीहरुको intellectual capabilities भनौं न एक हिसाबले. So कतिको how well they can perform, how well they know about the topic. कुरा गर्न साथ चिनिहाल्छ नि मान्छे.
Like how कति knowledge चाहिँ छ भनेर.
Yes, exactly. So यसो हेर्नु साथै हेरेर मात्रै चाहिँ गर्नु भएन, but that is obviously like त्यस्तो भयो भने केही न केही गरेरै भएको हुन्छ. They will have a lot of background as to how they got there, but अरू सबै factors पनि we have to look at it.
So for someone who wants to start out balla, what are the things that they need to know? How do they start?
Or like somebody who's just starting out, who's never stepped into the gym, and timro client आएरी हुन्छ नि.
नयाँ मान्छे.
So this is
how would you start?
Yeah. How
so basically motivation जस्तै त भयो नि त.
हजुर.
Motivation is defined by different people differently, but what I normally consider is a direction of effort towards something. So हाम्रो कुरामा चाहिँ it becomes like direction of effort to changing your lifestyle भनौँ न.
So एउटा directionमा effort लाउनु पर्यो, continuous
so
effort.
that's basically motivation भनौँ न. So you wanted to start this podcast, so you put all your effort into this, so you started.
Yeah.
So you have motivation. So त्यो भयो. अनि motivation चाहिँ is normally intrinsic or extrinsic भन्छ क्या हामीले. So intrinsic भनेको चाहिँ आफ्नो भित्र मन बढाउने, अनि extrinsic भनेको चाहिँ बाहिरको कुरा. Like we said, maybe you have a wedding coming soon, so you want to make a body, or your parents force you to study, so you study. Or like यस्तो भन्ने चाहिँ सबै external sources बाट you might win a competition, you might receive a prize, यस्तो भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ is all external motivation. So what we want to look at is intrinsic motivation. अनि यसमा चाहिँ obviously there are some drawbacks, but तीनटा कुरा भयो भने चाहिँ people are intrinsically motivated, and that's what we need to chase भनौँ न एक हिसाबले.
Okay.
So competence भन्छ, relatedness, autonomy भन्छ. So autonomy भनेको चाहिँ something that you actually want to do yourself. So I want to be a powerlifter, so I became a powerlifter. I'm motivated because I wanted to do it. Competence भनेको चाहिँ that I feel like I can be a world champion someday. So just an example. So I work towards my motivation. Competence भनेको त्यो. Relatedness भनेको चाहिँ maybe I can earn some money out of this, or like earning money might not be the right way to be motivated, but I might be successful, I might have more friends. If you can relate to the topic, then you are intrinsically motivated. So यो तीनटा कुरा भएपछि चाहिँ then we are intrinsically motivated भनेर हामीले बुझ्न सक्छौँ.
Okay.
अनि what we need to chase is intrinsic motivation when we're starting to work out.
Not for others, but for
Yes.
yourself.
So first thing when we're getting into the gym, we need to look at is working out the right, does working out have the right autonomy? Do you actually want to work out at the gym, or do you want to do salsa, or do you want to do Zumba, or do you want to play some sports? So fitness doesn't have to be working out at the gym. So something autonomy, so something that comes from within. So if you like playing a sport, you might be able to do it more regularly than you would be able to do a workout. So first thing you have to establish is what genre you want to select in terms of pursuing a healthier lifestyle भनौँ न एक हिसाबले. And then we can, since this podcast we're talking about bodybuilding, so gym मा आएपछि चाहिँ let's say in a hypothetical world the person chooses to come to the gym. So gym मा आएपछि चाहिँ what we want to do is finding the most sustainable way to be able to get to the gym every single day, because sustainability भनेको अब गरिराख्नु सक्नु पर्यो नि त. एक दिन एक हप्तामा जोसले गरेर अनि next week many people disappear. And that's very very common. So सबभन्दा धेरै तपाईले कसरी गर्नु सक्नुहुन्छ with the given constraints your life has. So you don't want to be skipping work to go to the gym, just to भएन. So let's say in like beginners I would say like start by training at least 4 times a week, few hours, 4 hours a week भनौँ न. So that's a very sustainable approach. अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ बिस्तारै गर्दै गएपछि then you find relatedness, then you find competence भनौँ न. You find friends. Like म पहिला one of the bigger reasons I went to the gym was because I had friends. Like मलाई जिम गर्नु त मन थियो सुरुमा, but when I went to the gym I found relatedness. I could find people who were similar to me, very light-minded.
Plus points जस्तै.
Plus points जस्तो. So I could relate to them really. So I had goals with them. Like मेरो अहिले long time, I think one of my best friends, Parnish, even he knows Parnish. So we met through the gym and we had like a similar vision for the foreseeable future भनौँ न. So we turned out to be very good friends. So त्यसले गर्दा पनि motivation was intrinsically higher. So sometimes when he wouldn't be able to come, like मेरो motivation would be lower भनौँ न, because I didn't have the competence that I would normally have. Relatedness अलिकति घट्थ्यो. But त्यस्तै हिसाबले हुँदै हुँदै गएपछि चाहिँ then we can develop better motivation.
Yeah.
So that's the basic starting point भनौँ न.
Yeah. I think Yeah, people want to get fit for the wrong reason. खाले पनि हो, like अघि कुरा गरे जस्तै.
I mean, he
Like
started.
Instagram हेऱ्यो अनि like हुन्छ नि, we compare ourselves with others. So त्यो कुराले गर्दा पनि हो. So I think I really like that point about how we should internalize and then move forward. हुन्छ नि.
That's the very first step. Like हामीले सबै कुरा अहिले न्युट्रिसनमा कुरा गर्दा people jump to the last part first without looking at the bottom of the hierarchy. What's the most important thing, which is
The
adherence
basics.
and sustainability, and followed by all the intrinsic and external factors.
Yeah, so finding your motivation is the first part.
Finding your motivation, what's your purpose, किन चाहिँ गर्नु चाहन्छ, अब साथी बनाउँछु केटी पटाउँछु भने जिम जान्छ, but that's like the later part भनौँ न, which could obviously be a good thing. Gymमा, like I've met so many people through gym, all my good friends, so much of my work is because of that, but I didn't go into working out because I wanted,
because of that reason.
because I wanted a social circle through the gym. त्यसरी गएन, but it just happens in that way. But सुरुको motivation shouldn't be other external factors like that. अब सुरुमा हेऱ्यो भने चाहिँ all those things could be external factors. अहिले if you've never been to the gym, म जिम गएपछि म जिउ बनाउँछु, म साथीहरू खतरा बनाउँछु, केटी पनि खतरा पटाउँछु, यस्तो खालको कुरा हुँदै, like that would be an external factor. But if you start from the bottom up, then you would find yourself more motivated to work out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Motivation also changes over time. जस्तै like तिमीले भन्यो नि सुरुमा start.
Direction of effort would change.
Yeah. So सुरुमा अब start गर्दाखेरि it can be because of like something happened or like a heartbreak is a very के भन्ने common example of people going to the gym. अनि त्यो भएपछि they meet friends and त्यो relativeness बढ्दै जान्छ. त्यसपछि then they start getting better at what they do. हुन्छ नि उनीहरूले आफ्नै चेन्जेसहरू देख्न थाल्छ. So that becomes a motivation. After that
becomes competence भनौँ न.
Yeah, competence. So तिमीले भनेकै कुराहरू it changes अनि like grows भनौँ न the motivation.
Yeah, so like motivation, external factor, अब breakup is an external factor भनौँ न.
Yeah.
So त्यसले गर्दा you're motivated, which is all good. That's fine, completely fine. But once you go inside the gym, then you find other aspects of motivation, intrinsic motivation. साथीहरू compete गर्ने साथीहरू भेट्यो भने अथवा केही गर्ने साथीहरू भेट्यो भने then त्यो motivation different हुँदै जान्छ. And it's also how like the different types of people we're surrounded by which would change motivation. And yeah, like Ritisha said, comparison is a thief of progress bhancha. So we don't want to be comparing ourselves to anybody, trying to be better without
Yeah.
अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ do you think अहिले because of all the competitions coming up and people getting more exposed to powerlifting and CrossFit and like other sports नेपालमा, not just that, cricket, whatever sportsहरू अहिले बल्ल boom भइरहेछ नि त नेपालमा, do you think that is motivation for people to actually get into gym oily? Because now we see a lot of powerlifters coming into the scene. We see a lot of CrossFits like games who are coming into the scene. So what do you think that is?
हुनु त यो सबै external sources यो competition यताउति भन्नेहरू.
Yeah.
What I like to look at it for myself, I don't want to speak for anybody else. Like I said अघि पनि, like would you do the same thing that you are doing now if everything else was taken away from you भन्छु के म. So would I be powerlifting if there was no competition in the future? Suddenly powerlifting nahi gayo and then you're the only one who remembers it. Would you still be able to do powerlifting? And if your answer is no, then maybe you're looking at the wrong place. So competition is obviously something we want to do. We want to socialize. We want to be the best person on the day. But and it's very important for motivation to get started. But if you really want to be like a true athlete, or if you really want to be the best at what you do, so this you shouldn't be really motivated to go after money and all those things. And if you're obviously good at it, everything just happens. Like
it aligns.
You find yourself to survive and become better. That a competition shouldn't be a motivation. It's definitely good for somebody who's starting out, and it's a very good thing that we're getting exposure, we're getting to meet people, we're getting to expand our everything that we have, but it shouldn't be the determining factor. The मलाई पनि अब competition छैन भन्दा चाहिँ अलिकति like त्यो हुन्छ, but I wouldn't stop pursuing मेरो end goal भनौँ न, just be better every single day.
But मैले चाहिँ के भन्नु does that त्यो competitionsहरू भएर त्यो exposure भएर it's bringing more people into the lifestyle भनौँ न, the fitness lifestyle.
Definitely.
Like,
exposure त हुन्छ नि त त्यसमा.
Yeah. So त्यसले चाहिँ like बढेर not just like going into the gym to look good or something, but then like actually athlete नै हुन्छु म, compete गर्छु म, त्यो गरेर भनेर पनि I think यसले गर्दा नि it's slowly bringing in more people into the.
Definitely, like we need somebody to pave the road, and that's helping us do it. And if more people are getting successful doing a very niche sport भनौँ न, then I think it's a very good thing, man. गर्नुपर्छ कम्पिटिसनहरू धेरै भने we get more exposure, then more people would find their true passion rather than doing other stuffs जस्तो लाग्छ. So it's a good thing. धेरै exposure भएको is always a good thing.
So now do you want to get into like the basics of fitness? Ma suruma gayo bhane if we and the main pillars haru bhanum diet, nutrition, training and recovery. Do you want to touch upon all of these three aliali?
हुन्छ अलिअलि गरौँ तर धेरै नै बोलिहाल्छु म त फेरि.
हुन्छ नि त, let's get into it aliali.
हुन्छ. So nutritionमा पनि like सबै कुरामा there are pillars. What's the most important अनि less important, less like it's a hierarchy भनौँ न.
Okay.
There's any hierarchy. So the base of any nutrition or training or life or anything is always, मेरो point of view, but it is adherence and sustainability. So being able to do it repeatedly over time and something that you can stick to and not go off course. So that's the base of the pyramid in whichever hierarchy there is.
Whichever field or whatever you're doing.
Whichever field, anything in life. तर nutrition को कुरा गर्दा चाहिँ after that main hierarchy, the most important one becomes caloric balance. So this is, it determines if you're losing weight or gaining weight. And most of the people, 90% of the health problems just goes away if you're losing weight. And some कुनै चाहिँ genetically different हुन्छ, त्यस्तोहरुको लागि it won't really make a difference. But most of the progress in nutrition comes from gaining weight or losing weight, and that is determined by caloric needs. How much you take in. Taking in, there's only one thing. Khana matre, whatever you eat has calories, and whatever you're expending. So expending, there are a lot of things. So first thing is BMR.
BMR.
So basal metabolic rate. So this is the energy that you need to just live.
Sustain. Okay.
Just live. So this takes up most of our calories out. So हामीले breathe गर्छ, सुत्छ, organs are functional, but we fidget, we move our hands, हाम्रो कपालहरू जहिले पनि ग्रो भएर हुन्छ, सबै बडीको फङ्सनहरू त्यो BMR ले कभर गर्छ हैन. त्यसपछि आउँछ एक्सरसाइज भयो. So exercise is obviously a contributor to calories out. So the biggest chunk is BMR. Like if you're not like a endurance athlete, then BMR comprises of over 60%, 70% BMR हुन्छ के. अनि त्यसपछि एक्सरसाइज एक्टिभिटी हुन्छ, अनि त्यसपछि नीट हुन्छ, नन एक्सरसाइज एक्टिभिटी थर्मोजेनेसिस भन्छ हैन. तर त्यो भनेको चाहिँ सिम्पलमा चाहिँ लाइक you're smiling, you're moving hands, you're fidgeting, यस्तोहरु चाहिँ नीटमा कभर हुन्छ. अनि when हाम्रो क्यालोरिज आर एक्चुअली लो, नीट पनि लो हुन्छ क्या, ढलाइ हुन्छ, त्यतिकै बसिरहेको हुन्छ, टिभीको रिमोट चलाउनै नअल्छी लाग्छ, एउटै च्यानल हेरेर बस्छ.
So what is the difference between BMR and
BMR मा चाहिँ बडी फङ्सन्सहरु,
BMR मा चाहिँ तिम्रो इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट
like automate भइरा हुन्छ,
तिम्रो organs हरु फङ्सन हुने,
त्यो त रोकिँदैन नि त.
So this is like अलिकति एफर्ट लाउनु पर्ने खाले.
So नीट भन्छ. तर everyone's so different. Like when you're really dieting hard हुन्छ नि, आँखा पनि यस्तरी झिमिक्क गर्छ क्या, like त्यो you're not fast क्या. So that's नीट भन्छ हैन.
Okay.
त्यसपछि another big factor is thermic effect of food भन्छ. So त्यो भनेको चाहिँ हामीले खाना खाएपछि पचाउनु पर्यो नि त, so त्यसको लागि एनर्जी लाग्यो नि. So different खाना, प्रोटिनको लागि डिफरेन्ट हुन्छ, फ्याटको लागि डिफरेन्ट हुन्छ, कार्ब्सको लागि डिफरेन्ट हुन्छ, डिफरेन्ट सोर्सेसलाई डिफरेन्ट हुन्छ क्या. तर in general if you're eating 2000 calories, then you might be burning 200 just to digest it.
Yeah, this is I don't know if it's a myth or what. Most people say
Celery,
that salad or like lettuce or basically खाँदाखेरि तिमीले you actually burning more calories than you're taking in.
त्यस्तो त खासै त हुँदैन, तर खाएर पनि कहिले कम हुन्छ त अनि त्यो त हुँदैन. But it's a myth. But it has very few calories and it has a lot of volume. So it's almost like negative calories, but calories त हुन्छ, you have to count it. So त्यो त हैन. But thermic effect of food is a big one. अनि अर्को चाहिँ might not be so important, but EPOC भन्छ, excess post workout oxygen consumption भन्छ क्या. यो भनेको चाहिँ तपाईको हामी वर्कआउट गर्दा गर्दै वेट घट्छ नि. So it's because of we're breathing out oxygen from our body, skin बाट, सबै कुराबाट. So excess post workout oxygen consumption. So that's like 5-10%. So यो चाहिँ is all calories out. यो चाहिँ हामीले सबै calculate गर्नुपर्छ, which you might have a special guest later who will teach how to do it.
So we can do
But like but this is the base of the pyramid. So if you're eating more, then you're exerting. Eating more when you're gaining weight. If you're eating less, then you're exerting.
So like just a question, like there are some people who eat so much but they don't gain weight.
चकचके हुन्छ नि त त्यस्तो मान्छेहरु, नीट इज हाई.
सक्छ के
लाइक ताउती फिजिट गर्ने ताउती गर्ने अनि
ओके
Yeah,
लाइक
that's the one.
Who are
like
naturally
why
more active.
naturally more active.
एक्टिभ भन्दा पनि लाइक दे
Or-
जस्ट इट सो मच तर लाइक मोटाउँदैन खाले क्या
हामीले जुन चाहिँ
BMR.
बिएमआरको कुरा गरेको थियौँ नि होइन कोही कोही मान्छेहरूको नेचुरली त्यो धेरै पनि हुनसक्छ
Not in a significant amount. Definitely not in a significant amount.
But then it has to come down to if you're like
But-
त्यो जति खाए पनि नपचाउने लाइक नमोटाउने हो भने इट हेज टु कम डाउन टु त्यो क्यालोरी
Yeah.
आउट
Yeah.
तिम्रो कुनै न कुनैमा धेरै र कम हुनुपर्छ
active. Like people who are, generally heavier, भनौँ न उनीहरू they're fidgeting less, they tend to lie down more, they walk slower, like they might be lazier in some other aspects of life which might not be very necessary. I think I fall on that category. अनि त्यो भएपछि चाहिँ त्यो हुन्छ नि एक्टिभिटी अनि एक्सर्साइज कस्तो गर्छ हाउ मच मसल यु हेभ अकर्डिङ टु हाउ मच फ्याट यु हेभ यस्तोमा चाहिँ धेरै फरक पर्छ बट मेबी दोज पिपल आर नेचुरली लिनर त नभनौँ इट अल बिकम्स लाइक डिजिज छैन भने इट अल बिकम्स हाउ लाइफस्टाइल चेन्जेस अफेक्ट अल दिज लिटल थिङ्स भनौँ न मोर मस्कुलर हुन्छ मेबी दे growing up they played more sports than others. Maybe they were exposed to weight training or some form of weight training. अब घरमै काम गरेर हुन्छ कि यस्तो भएर चाहिँ I think makes a difference. But when I calculate for macros BMR, it's not really off by a lot. तर एक दुई हप्तापछि त्यो एडजस्ट गर्नु नै पुगिहाल्छ कि सो इट्स नट धेरै फरक चाहिँ हुँदैन लाइक यङ्गर पिपल टेन टु बी मोर एक्टिभ लाइक बच्चाहरू सो दे क्यान गेट अवे विथ डुइङ मोर all those things.
So basically it's like
Very similar. फरक त हुन्छ individual differences like we're not in a place right now to understand every single physiological differences, especially me because I'm not a nutritionist or I haven't done a PhD in any of these topics. So एकदमै धेरै factors ले नै affect गर्छ क्या so we cannot say that but in general त खासै त्यो factors ले नै हुन्छ क्या
अनि अर्को चाहिँ मेजर थिङ हामी पहिले जिम जाने बित्तिकै लाइक तिमी वर्कआउट गर्ने बित्तिकै यु निड सप्लिमेन्ट्स हुन्छ नि वे हालिदिइहाल्छ हुन्छ नि उसमा यो खाऊ त्यो खाऊ लाइक मोस्ट जिम्सहरूमा जस्तो गर्छ होइन सो हाउ इम्पोर्टेन्ट इज सप्लिमेन्टेसन इन लाइक हाम्रो डायट
so we're just in the base of the pyramid होइन
हजुर
caloric balance भयो यो पछि is macronutrients होइन macros protein fat carbs अनि त्यसपछि is food composition meal frequency होइन अनि त्यसपछि what comes after that meal frequency त्यसपछि food choices and then supplementation hydration
so supplement almost comes to the end of the pyramid
yeah but definitely towards the end तर तलको फ्याक्टर्सहरू चाहिँ मिल्दै जानुपर्छ यु वान्ट टु गेट इन्टु सबै फ्याक्टर्स अलिअलि सो सेकेन्डमा चाहिँ आउँछ म्याक्रो न्युट्रिएन्ट अनि यसमा पनि देयर सो मच you know like different things that's going around in the market right now like keto bhancha which is very high in fat vegans have very less protein and fats there are carnivores who only eat protein and fat so basic of physiological need just to survive say tintai macronutrient ko total calorie consumption bada 10% is very essential bhanum na
tintai भन्नाले
macros protein fat र carbs bada चाहिँ 10% is very important just for survival so protein bina pani you would die fats 10% bina you would die like ani carbs say you wouldn't die but vegetables have some health benefits which which will not have any problem if you have 10% of your calories from vegetables भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ so त्यो भयो so protein carbs fat any you might want to distribute it however the hell you want and whatever your goal needs but त्यसपछि चाहिँ हामीले लाइक तिनवटालाई चाहिँ हामीले डिभाइड गर्नु मिल्छ क्या सो कसरी खाने प्रोटिनको फाइदा के हो सो प्रोटिन भनेपछि चाहिँ इट्स लिटरली लाइक द बिल्डिङ ब्लक्स अफ मसल आवर बडी लिटरली निड्स प्रोटिन टु बिल्ड मोर मसल सो मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेन्ट वुड बी एटलिस्ट 0.4 grams per pound of body weight so just do the math होइन अनि त्यसपछि it's something that our body cannot produce from fats or carbohydrates. That's protein ko importance थियो भएन अनि त्यसपछि carbs को चाहिँ it's the primary fuel source to our body as glycogen भन्छ so हामीले खाना खाएपछि our glycogen stores हाम्रो मसलमा stores हुन्छ some in the liver as well so त्यो चाहिँ fill हुन्छ त्यसले चाहिँ gives us energy so carbs को number one priority is to give us energy. About glycogen stores deplete garyo bhane then our body will take it from fat. That's how ketogenic diet works. But like carbohydrate is the preferred fuel by the nervous system and our body. So कार्बोहाइड्रेट भयो भने we're more fatigue resistant, हाम्रो न्युरोमस्कुलर के भन्छ यो मुभमेन्ट्सहरूदेखि लिएर मुभमेन्ट प्याटर्नहरूदेखि लिएर हाम्रो ब्रेन फङ्सन मोटिभेसन टु ट्रेनहरू सबै इन्क्रिसेस विथ कार्ब्स एन्ड कार्ब इज अल्सो भेरी एनाबोलिक. सो एनाबोलिक भनेको चाहिँ द्याट हेज द पोटेन्सियल टु बिल्ड मसल भनौँ न. सो कार्ब्स आर भेरी एनाबोलिक बिकज इट एज वी हेभ इन नन डायबेटिक पेसेन्ट हामीले कार्ब्स खायो भने हाम्रो ब्लड सुगर लेभल राइजेस विच गिभ्स जेनरेट्स इन्सुलिन एन्ड इन्सुलिन इज भेरी एनाबोलिक. अनि कार्ब्सले नै इन्सुलिन स्पाइक गर्छ. अनि द्याट्स वाइ लाइक सम प्रो बडी बिल्डर्स युज इन्सुलिन एक्सटर्नली टु गेट बिगर. सो इन्सुलिन इज अ बिग फ्याक्टर देयर. तर too much of a good thing is also not good. So if there's too much blood sugar levels in our body, that will be converted into fat. So that's where the carb myth huncha ni. Carbs make you fat भन्ने चाहिँ is excess amount मा consume गर्यो भने चाहिँ is gonna make you fat भनेर चाहिँ त्यो myth चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट आएको. नत्र भने carbs is very good, very anabolic, especially when combined with adequate amount of building blocks from the protein that we consume. So that's carbs. And fat भनेपछि चाहिँ फ्याट्स चाहिँ अब धेरै किसिमको हुन्छ बट फ्याट्स चाहिँ हाम्रो बेसिक हर्मोनल निड्सहरूलाई फुलफिल गर्नलाई चाहिँ 10% खानै पर्ने हुन्छ. अनि बडीको हिसाबमा चाहिँ 0.4 जति चाहिँ मिनिमम राख्नै पर्छ हाम्रो फ्याट सोर्सेस पनि. बट फ्याट अल्सो हेज अदर बेनिफिट्स द्याट इट्स रियली टेस्टी. इट्स चिप पाउन्ड फर पाउन्ड बिकज सबै प्रोटिनबाट मात्रै खानु इज भेरी एक्सपेन्सिभ and it's very palatable. You can eat a lot of it. If sometimes some people need a lot of extra calories, so fat burden लिँदाखेरि चाहिँ
also fat holds a longer period of time नि.
त्यो पनि so यस्तो हुन्छ. So protein चाहिँ is something that our body cannot produce naturally. So protein पनि is divided in as like bioavailability भन्छ क्या protein को चाहिँ. The faster digesting proteins are considered higher bioavailable fuel sources. So whey protein is on the top of the pyramid. So that will ingest, as you ingest it, निस्किनु 1 घण्टामा सकिसक्छ क्या त्यो. So that's very bioavailable and very fast digesting. अनि त्यसपछि like chicken, beef, blah 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 blah, सोयहरू लास्टतिर आउँछ. अनि प्रोटिन चाहिँ आवर बडी क्यानट ह्याभ इट. सो हाम्रो जिआई ट्र्याकमा जति छ घाँटीदेखि निस्किने बेलासम्म त्यहाँबाट मात्रै अब्जर्भ गर्नुपर्छ क्या प्रोटिन चाहिँ हाम्रो बडीले. इट डजन्ट स्टे इन द बडी. सो द्याट्स द रिजन वी हेभ टु हेभ प्रोटिन एटलिस्ट 3 to 4 times a day. अनि राति सुत्दाखेरि चाहिँ द प्रोसेस इज स्लोड डाउन बिकज हाम्रो सर्केडियन रिदम हाम्रो बायोसाइकल त्यही अनुसारले बनेको हुन्छ हाम्रो बडी. नत्र भने त राति प्रोटिन डेफिसियन्ट भएर त्यो हुनसक्छ धेरै मसल ब्रेकडाउन. अनि केसिन इज लाइक द स्लोएस्ट डाइजेस्टिङ प्रोटिन. द्याट इज दे से अप टु 7 hours or something. So that's protein. अनि कार्ब्स पनि हेज अ भेरी सिमिलर इन्डेक्स फास्ट डाइजेस्टिङदेखि स्लोएस्ट डाइजेस्टिङ. त्यो चाहिँ कति छिटो your blood can generate insulin भनौँ न, spike insulin भनौँ न. So number 1 is dextrose भन्छ क्या. Dextrose चाहिँ is like ग्लुकोजमा हुन्छ नि. त्यो चाहिँ 100 glycemic index भन्छ. त्यसपछि कर्नफ्लेक्स ब्ला 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 90-80 राइसहरू लाइक 50-60 हुँदै जान्छ अनि लास्टमा चाहिँ पिनट्सहरू चाहिँ इज भेरी स्लो डाइजेस्टिङ. अनि फ्याट तिमीले सोधेको क्वेसनमा बल्ल आएँ म. फ्याट्स इज जेनरली स्लाइटली स्लोवर डाइजेस्टिङ. तर फ्याट्स पनि इज मोनोस्याचुरेटेड, पोलिस्याचुरेटेड, हेल्दी स्याचुरेटेड, ट्रान्स फ्याट भनेर हुन्छ. सो वी वान्ट टु हेभ मोर फ्याट्स फ्रम मोनोस्याचुरेटेड फ्याट्स, नट सिड्स, एभोकाडोज, सिड्स. अनि
so walnuts, almonds,
those things should be the majority of our caloric needs. अनि त्यसपछि अब vegetable oilहरू पनि they're not unhealthy, 15%. And trans fatहरू चाहिँ we might want to avoid it, like fast foodहरूमा हुने त्यस्तोहरू चाहिँ we might want to avoid.
Trans fatहरू चाहिँ like specially के हुन्छ the फ्राई गर्ने कुराहरू
लाइक त्यो एकदम डढेको पुरानो यस्तोहरू चाहिँ would be considered trans.
अनि बेकन
पनि खासमा इज नट द हेल्दिएस्ट सोर्स. ट्रान्स फ्याट अथवा स्याचुरेटेड फ्याट्समै कन्सिडर गर्छ. तर दोज आर लाइक वी हेभ टु हेभ लेस अफ दोज भनौँ न.
सो आई थिङ्क वी हेभ कभर्ड द म्याक्रोज. त्यसपछि
म्याक्रोज फुड कम्पोजिसन पनि मैले यसमै हल्का भनिदिइहालेँ. बट इट्स फुड कम्पोजिसन इज लेस इम्पोर्टेन्ट देन म्याक्रोन्युट्रियन्ट भनौँ न. म्याक्रोन्युट्रियन्ट र फुड कम्पोजिसन हामीले कुरा गरिहाल्यो. प्रोटिन, फ्याट, कार्ब्स. प्रोटिन हेज टु बी डिभाइडेड into different chunks throughout the day because it only stays in the GI tract. And carbohydrate, like I said, it's very good for energy levels. So pre-workout carbohydrate should be high just for energy, and post-workout since we deplete the glycogen in our muscle, so post-workout carbohydrate is very important. And fats say is very very palatable, so whenever we don't need it, we don't need the carbs, or we don't protein the whenever we don't need the carbs, we can have more of fats. That's very simple, and it's cheaper, it's tastier, so why not? हिसाबले चाहिँ फ्याट्सलाई प्लेस गर्ने हो, बट 10% मिनिमम चाहिँ राख्नै पर्छ, त्यो त भइहाल्छ कि यसै पनि,
त्यो सबैमा हुन्छ,
भइहाल्छ।
तिमी मासु खाँदाखेरि नि त्यसमा हल्का हल्का फ्याट्स त भइहाल्छ। त्यसपछि
then we can get into supplementation हल्का, because that's a hot topic.
That's a hot topic. How important is supplementation?
So यो सबै कुरा भएपछि maybe we've covered over 90% of everything भनौँ न,
nutrition को
basic pillars हरु भनौँ, तर in depth obviously अहिले भ्याउँदै पनि भ्याउँदैन, it's outside the scope of this podcast. But supplementation, there are a few that works, नत्र भने there wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar business if it was completely bullshit. So the ones that actually work and have research is obviously whey protein, मैले भने it's the most bioavailable source of protein. But that doesn't mean एक घण्टामै खाएर निस्क्यो भने पछि that doesn't mean कि you're building the muscle very fast. It's just a good idea when you're when you cannot have too much bloat in your stomach during workout or right after a workout, त्यस्तो बेलामा चाहिँ खानु मिल्छ whey protein. अनि obviously अरू बेला प्रोटिनहरु पुगिरा हुँदैन, because our body constantly needs protein throughout the day. So त्यस्तो बेला चाहिँ खायो भने हुन्छ, but it's better since food is cheaper and more अगाउँछ पनि मिठो पनि हुन्छ, we can then have protein during those times. So that's whey protein is that. Casein पनि भइहाल्यो, it digests very slow. You might not have a meal in like 5-6 hours, so casein or protein is important. Another thing that works is creatine. Creatine has a lot of research. It's again glycogen to hoina, but ATP भन्ने हुन्छ, फेरि के डिटेलमा जाने, but it basically gives you more energy, stores it replenishes your small little energy stores faster, so it could make you potentially slightly stronger over time. अनि creatine चाहिँ like अहिले खान्छ अहिले हुँदैन के, your body needs to have creatine stores. मासुहरु खाँदा naturally पनि creatine पाइरा हुन्छ हामीले, so creatine is important there.
That's why you do the creatine cycles.
Creatine cycle खासै गर्नु पर्दैन के, like according to the new research, but every day 0.1 gram of your body weight खानु पर्यो भन्नु न. If I weigh 100 kilos, 10 grams creatine मैले daily खाइराख्यो भने my creatine stores will be replenished like 10, 15, 20 days मा हुन्छ. लोड गर्यो भने अलिक छिटो हुन्छ, but since it's going to be there anyways, why waste on creatine भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ yearly cycle मा creatine खायो भने there are no significant side effects to hair loss, liver, acne, water retention यस्तोहरु भन्छ. तर you can have creatine throughout there, and it might give you a small performance boost. If you want to have any supplement, creatine is the one. It's cheap and it has some research behind it. Another one that works is stimulants.
Never heard of it.
Stimulants भने अब के caffeineहरु,
okay,
like instantly feel हुने. अनि there are some herbal appetite suppressant, not fat burners, because fat burn गर्दैन, it probably will give you energy to work out more, and herbal त्योहरुले अलिकति appetite कम गर्छ, so as a result you might be less hungry and you might work more भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ you burn fat. That's how fat burners came. So it's not very important. Other things are definitely more important, but we cannot completely disregard it as well.
So now we've like kind of basically touched upon or like covered nutrition for now. The three pillars I'm now कुरा गरेको छ, nutrition and training and recovery. So let's get into training already.
Nutrition we didn't talk about water, hydration, and minerals, vitamins. Let's not do it यसमा, because it'll just be too long.
हुन्छ
हैन, because vitamins are there's a lot more nuances, but a basic body composition को लागि यतिले नै भइहाल्छ. अनि हाइड्रेसन पनि is important. We have to stay hydrated, तर खाएको चाहिँ गर्नु पर्दैन पानी. Whenever you're thirsty you can have, अनि assess it by
यो हाइड्रेसन को चाहिँ लाइक 2-3 वटा कुराहरु सोध्नु के, लाइक how हामी competitions हरुको अगाडि body builders basically they don't hydrate for a couple of days or hours भनौं न. So what is that about?
So उनीहरूले गर्ने चाहिँ is water manipulation हो. So they trick the body to exert all the body out of our body, all the body
Water.
बाहिर निकाल्ने it's a trick that's done to our body so that you can weigh less at the day of the weigh-in day competition and त्यसपछि you rehydrate back into regular
After the competition?
After the weigh-in.
After the weigh-in you recover to maybe not 100% but close to 100% by the time you're
Wait, this is for bodybuilding ki powerlifting?
Any sport that has weight classes, people cut weight, so they have an advantage.
Because water retention ekdamai like त्यो पनि plays a huge role in the weight in the body weight.
Okay.
Water अनि हाम्रो जिउमा खानाहरू हुन्छ so यस्तोलाई चाहिँ normally what I typically do nowadays is I cut out fiberहरू चाहिँ because that has less calories but lot of volume.
Okay.
So त्यो भुँडीमा भइराखेको weight हुन्छ so त्यो cut out गर्नु साथै mostly from fats खायो energy sources from fats र protein खायो भने चाहिँ then हाम्रो body weight tends to be lighter so keto गऱ्यो भने एकैचोटि सट्ट weight घट्छ नि सुरुमा that's because you excrete all the what do you say all the excess khana from the body and then what happens is carbs and nabhayesi we don't store glycogen as well so त्यो weight पनि जान्छ so that we can lose like almost 3 to 5% of our body weight in just like a few days so that's very advantageous and weigh गर्नु साथै carbs खाएपछि पानी खाएपछि then you get back into full swing.
That does not affect your performance, I know.
It affects slightly, but not to the point where you're not in an advantage because you weigh heavier. So more when I compete at 93, I walk around like 97 jatima ke. So I just make weight. I won't be as strong as when I'm 97, but I would be as strong as when I'm 95. Okay? So 2 kg is just advantage. So this is it helps. And अर्को चाहिँ is water. Basically we drink so much water in the earlier loading phases and carbs, so we stored a lot of water and we're peeing a lot. And suddenly then we remove carbs slowly, jula jukaera, replace it with fats or protein. And then the water, pani khai when we keep going to the toilet. And त्यसपछि last day we slowly get the water levels down and maybe 24 hours or katima चाहिँ pani नै खाँदैन but our body को त्यो मुत्ने syndrome is so heavily active we keep going to the toilet till we run out of everything बुझ्यो and then there is nothing to store you're not having any external sources nor is there carbs or vegetable or any bloat in your body which can hold water so त्यो भएपछि you lose like so much weight you can crazy गर्यो भने त up to 10% body weight पनि जान्छ के and then you sweat it out in a sauna त्यसोहरू गर्छ but I would go against doing like extremely but that's how it works.
Okay.
अर्को कुरा चाहिँ maybe like this will be interesting for her. Can you talk about intermittent fasting?
Oh.
You're doing that?
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting is obviously a restricted window भनौँ न खाने.
हामीले त्यो जुन चाहिँ pyramidमा we also talked about the meal periods ni timings.
So if you want to get absolutely jacked and have the most performance, intermittent fasting is not the right way to do it. But sustainability.
If you want to get what?
If you want to get absolutely jacked, maximize your potential in building muscle, maximize your performance, intermittent fasting is not the right way to do it. I'm going to say it again. But the bigger factor is caloric balance पनि हुन्छ त्यसले अनि adherence and sustainability is also a big factor neither. So if you can do intermittent fasting, you're very sustainable and you can keep doing it for a long period of time. We're covering the biggest pillar of our hierarchy, which is sustainability and adherence. And त्यसपछि आउँछ caloric surplus, caloric needs. So caloric needs पनि if you have a limited window, 24 घण्टामा खाने 8 घण्टामा खानु पर्यो भने त सबै खानु सक्दैन नि त. So caloric balance would be managed better if you're doing intermittent fasting. If it is the scenario भनौँ न बुझ्यो
मैले बुझेन
म एक्सप्लेन गर्छु अलिकति सिम्पलर टर्म्स सो बेसिकली हाम्रो जुन चाहिँ मेन चाहिँ क्यालोरिक निड्सहरू हुन्छ नि बडीको इट्स बेसिकली लाइक फ्युल अब तिम्रो मेन्टेनेन्स लेभल इज 2000 क्यालोरिज भन्यो भने तिमीले त्यो 2000 अब बेसिकली तिमीले बिहानदेखि बेलुकासम्म खायो भने यो ओभर इटिङ एन्ड यु डुइङ अ लट अफ थिङ्स यु क्यान ह्याभ हुन्छ नि 3000 क्यालोरिज पनि तर तिमीले एउटा सर्टन विन्डोमा मात्र खाने प्रयास गर्यो भने तिमीले लाइक यु कान्ट इट 3000 क्यालोरिज रे नि त सो लाइक तिमीले कम पिरियडमा त यु क्यान ह्याभ लाइक कम फुडै खान्छ नि त सो त्यो कुरा हो क्या
सो इट्स covering the basic pillars.
Calories
come khane likely it's more likely that you're going to eat less when you're eating 8 hours versus when you're eating 24 hours ni ta so त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ adherence र caloric needs भयो नि त body composition त change भइहाल्छ so that's the bigger pillar तर अब macronutrients अनि खाना जिउमा नबस्ने all that things लाई चाहिँ at some points you might be catabolic, meaning you might be losing muscle, like हाम्रो body might be using protein as breaking down protein and giving your body energy to function. यस्तो भयो भने चाहिँ intermittent fasting. But for most people, if it works for you, it works for you. But it's not like they want your body goes into ketosis and your mind is free. What the when I'm fasted mal यस्तो रिस उठ्छ कहिले खाना देखेर हुन्छ के. So if it works for you, it works for you. But it's not magical.
I'm not doing the 16-8 वाला window because 8 hours to मलाई अति नै short लागेको थियो. Like हुन्छ नि I started overeating because like मेरो like window सकिन लाग्यो types गरेर. So like for me it's like 10-14. So that is like working.
So that's sustainable and you can do it for a long time.
8-16 चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ personally चाहिँ गाह्रो भयो, so I didn't do that. So मेरो window is 10-14.
So त्यसमा अब तर त्यो extra fast गरेर your body goes into ketosis हरू यस्तोहरू हुन्छ, but it's not bigger than caloric balance in body composition.
With त्यो भन्दा पनि I think intermittent fasting has a lot to do with making your insulin receptors अलि sensitive.
Like just because हाम्रो bodyमा glycogen नभएपछि त your body is constantly looking for more food to feast भनौँ न. अनि
so then it like feeds on fat.
It feeds on fat. Like ketosis भनेको चाहिँ त्यो हो, like when you don't have the primary preferred fuel source. अब के त के गर्नु पर्यो, your body doesn't care if you're fit or fat or whatever, it just wants to survive. So it'll take other sources बाट, so fat बाट, protein बाट, depending on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so we've covered nutrition. Let's get into training.
Training मा चाहिँ like nutrition भन्दा नि training has more nuances, and this is where I am actually better than at nutrition, and that's how I don't do so much of nutritional clients but training is my bread and butter, and I've done my research because Google search isn't research. Google search isn't research, that's surfing the internet. But I've done a lot of reading. I went to I've listened to probably millions of podcasts by now. Very informative ones, and I've been to couple hundred seminars over the years, from world champions to many time world champions to Asian champions to everything. So your training is very fun. So training ma chai what we have to identify as a coach is what is your actual need, specificity of training months. I guess like this is like the base of the hierarchy again. After
for
sustainability
training.
And adherence.
Okay.
So base of the training is specificity. So specificity bhaneko chai what you actually want to do, what is your end goal. So if your end goal is to be just fit, just lose some pounds, get fit, is your specificity of training will not be like a professional bodybuilder who wants to get in his undies in a show. So this is different huncha ke. So what is your main primary focus? So this ko lai chai differently address garnu parcha, and त्यसपछि चाहिँ then we get into overload. How do you want to progress, get better over time? So how do you want to get better over time? आज 100 किलोले गऱ्यो नि भोलि 105 ले गर्ने
भएको कम्पिटेन्स बढाउने खाले हो.
So भएको कुरालाई कसरी चाहिँ better गर्दै लाने हो. So that's number 2, overload भन्छ. So overload can be through lifting more weight, doing more reps, doing this that. त्यसपछि then comes to fatigue management. How are you handling life stresses in conjunction to your training? Because stress is, it's not like stress from training is not different from stress from work or stress from your dog or stress from life consequences. So stress is stress. Sabai stresses are equal. So if you're very stressed out in work and all those things, training is also a stressor. So stress bhayeपछि then we adapt to get better. So that's how training works. So fatigue management is very very important when we're trying to train. So कति चाहिँ गर्नु सकिन्छ त, कसरी चाहिँ गर्ने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ fatigue management is very important. त्यसपछि
what do you do in fatigue management though?
Fatigue management we can do with multiple reasons. भन्नाले कति एक्सरसाइज गर्ने मात्रै हो खासमा त, कति सेट गर्ने, कति रेप गर्ने.
Okay, you just like manage कति reps or कति sets. Okay.
So fatigue management त्यो भयो. अनि SRA curve भन्छ अर्को, that's not too important but very important. So त्यो भनेको चाहिँ सबै exercises are not made equal. So squat अथवा deadlift is like a very big movement भनौँ न. So त्यो exerciseले चाहिँ how much does it affect you so that the next time you do the same exercise you are recovered for it. So SRA curve, stimulus, recovery, adaptation. Okay. Stimulus भन्ने exercise गर्यो, recover गर्यो अनि adapt भयो, then you get better. That's training. So every exercise has a different SRA curve. Okay. So त्यो कुरा चाहिँ याद गर्नुपर्छ. अब I can do, let's say for example, bicep curls daily and still be able to recover, whereas I wouldn't be able to do some of the other exercises like deadlift, squat. And,
so that means like कुनै exercises मा चाहिँ like there has to be a significant amount of gap in between.
So त्यो कुरा पनि we have to address when you're writing a training program. अनि त्यसपछि आउँछ individual differences पनि आउँछ, तर एउटा छ ठिकै छ केही फरक पर्दैन. If it's not, मलाई याद भनेर it's not important. But individual differences पनि हुन्छ. So केटीहरू different हुन्छ, taller people are different, lighter people are different, अनि student like एकदम ठुलो मान्छेहरू are different, and if you're bigger you're different, if you're smaller you're different. सबै कुरा different हुन्छ. So यो सबै फ्याक्टर्सलाई चाहिँ हामीले कन्सिडर गरेर चाहिँ ट्रेनिङ प्रोग्राम गर्नुपर्छ. बट इन सर्ट यसलाई चाहिँ सर्टै गरिदिउँ बिकज एकदमै धेरै कुरा आयो क्या दिमागमा. आइम जस्ट ट्राइङ टु पछि फेरि गर्ने भने चाहिँ हामीले. सो इन सर्ट चाहिँ सो हाम्रो स्पेसिफिक निड्स कि अब इफ युआर जस्ट स्टार्टिङ आउट एट द जिम योर अल दिस फ्याक्टर्स विल बी लिमिटेड क्या तपाईँको. हाउ मच यु क्यान ओभरलोड इज गर्न बी डिफ्रेन्ट. सो स्पेसिफिक सुरुमा स्पेसिफिसिटी अफ ट्रेनिङ shouldn't be to be a power lifter or something. Sudma, your specificity needs to be, if you're overweight, lose weight. If you're underweight, gain weight. Simple. I know. If you're balanced, then you can choose either. You want to gain weight or lose weight. So Sudma gym jandakeri chai our purpose, let's say mostly teenagers are they want to be able to gain weight. So त्यो भएपछि first ma we have to see उनीहरूको कति दिन भ्याउँछ स्कुलले ताउतीले गर्दा कति दिन चाहिँ एक्सर्साइज गर्नुलाई एनर्जी छ टाइम छ भनौँ न एक हिसाबले. Then we do that in 3 days, let's say. 3 days मात्रै भयो भने ट्रेनिङ ओभरलोड पनि एक्सर्साइजेस पनि त्यो अनुसारले गर्नु मिल्छ क्या. सो इफ यु वान्ट मोर ब्याङ फर द बक इन 3 days, यु वान्ट टु चुज एक्सर्साइज द्याट ह्याभ हाई स्टिमुलस टु रिकभरी.
Okay.
So if you're only going to the gym 3 days, then we want to prioritize on things that will take you longer to recover within those time periods and train our body more often. Because सुरुमा जाँदाखेरि skill is also a very important aspect when we are going to the gym. So if you go to the gym right now, you might not be able to know how to squat. And 2 हफ्ता 1 हफ्ता पछि तिमीलाई फेरि स्क्वाट गराइदियो नि के त्यो स्क्वाट यस्तो हुन्छ नि. Maybe not squat, but maybe bent over barbell row भने नि you'll forget नि. Skill is very important in beginners. So हामीले cover गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ then we have to choose exercises that give a lot of bang for the buck.
Frequency बढाउनु पर्यो.
Stimulus, recovery, adaptation अनि स्किलमा फोकस गर्नु पर्यो क्या. बिकज सिक्दै जान्छ नि त मुभमेन्ट. अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ and once you're resilient to the exercise, अब जहिले नयाँ एक्सर्साइज गर्ने you might be very very sore. So त्यो भने fatigue management फेरि बिग्रिन्छ क्या तपाईँको.
Okay.
So if you're doing the same exercise, you're going to be less fatigued. You're getting more bang for the buck, and your stimulus recovery is, and you can overload in the same exercise. अब आज suppose bicep bent over row गर्यो अनि next time अब अर्कै exercise गर्यो नि we might not be sure if you are progressing. Overload भइरहेछ कि छैन त. If you're doing more rep, if you're doing more exercise, if you're doing more set, त्यो clear नभएपछि then that tends to become a problem. अनि बिगिनर्सहरू हुँदाखेरि you don't have to train 5 to 6 days a week. 3 दिन राम्रोसँगले सबै कुरा गर्यो भने is better. And once you get into the flow of it, then we choose त्यो 3टा दिनको बिचमा चाहिँ we can put in fillers के which have smaller SRA curves. So like bicep curls, chest flies,
isolate movements,
shoulders, like calf raises, यस्तो सानो exercises चाहिँ we can put it in between those movements once we have the foundational set correct. So basic training त यति नै हो. Like periodization मा गयो भने चाहिँ is going to take long because periodization भने चाहिँ यो कुरालाई चाहिँ how do you put it into a plan. So that's a big topic. But I think beginner ला हुने त we've covered starting को लागि.
Let's just quickly touch upon recovery, then we'll wrap up.
So recovery pani comes from fatigue management because how much stimulus you're giving versus how much you're recovering. If you're doing more than what your body can actually handle. त्यसलाई चाहिँ maximum recoverable volume भन्छ के MRV, maximum recoverable volume. अनि अर्को पनि हुन्छ MAV, maximum effective volume भने चाहिँ the least amount of work you can do and make progress is MEV. अनि MAV भने चाहिँ maximum adaptive volume हुन्छ कि त्यो भने चाहिँ how much work you can do and maintain adaptations.
How much you can take in खालेको भयो त्यसमा.
So suppose like sabai we have to understand we cannot do everything at the same time. You cannot be in this place and that place at the same time.
Yeah.
But what you can do is maintain work at that place and make it better in this place. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So यो ठाउँलाई चाहिँ MAV मा राख्नु पर्यो कि maximum adaptive volume. What normally happens is people when you're coming to the gym they want to do everything at the same time.
Okay.
So that becomes a problem because we'll surpass our MRV, maximum recoverable volume.
So एउटा कुरा चाहिँ like autopilot मा राखेर and then you focus on something else.
Yes. So right now I might be able to just focus on my biceps while my tricep is on hold. This is a very simple example.
Yeah.
तर त्यसरी चाहिँ we have to approach things, and what happens to recovery is when we're doing too much than we can do, then recovery becomes an issue. So recovery ko lai चाहिँ number one biggest भनेको नै we have to train within our MRV. भने चाहिँ maximum recoverable volume भन्दा चाहिँ तल train गर्नुपर्छ. If you're dealing with a lot of life stresses, you're getting married and your friend is getting divorced at the same time and your dog died and this and that and that and that is happening, you don't want to be training like a pro power athlete भनौँ न, because यताको stress नै यति धेरै छ, यहाँको stress त त्यो गऱ्यो नि त अनि you start running into recovery issues. But at the same time if you're free अनि खाएर सुतिरहेछ भने you can just train slightly more, but त्यसको पनि limit त हुन्छ. त्यो चाहिँ periodization कुरा गर्दा गरौँ न. So you shouldn't be doing more. So for now if you're a beginner, just talk to a coach, find somebody who knows how to do the shit भनौँ न, who knows how to handle stresses. So recovery को चाहिँ biggest aspect is maximum recoverable volume. So whenever we're getting hurt, we did something more than we should. Whenever we get hurt, we did something more than we should.
Hurt as in injuries?
Injuries or anything. So that's the biggest chunk, होइन, of recovery. And त्यसपछि चाहिँ sometimes अब राम्रै गरिराख्दा नि injured भयो भने चाहिँ maybe something happened in your life which you didn't account for. आज म ट्रेनिङ गर्छु भनेर बसिरहेको थिएँ, but then suddenly I had to come to this podcast and I didn't monitor मेरो training and nutrition, hydration मिलेन भने I might run into issues के.
Okay.
So that's how most injuries occur. So MRV complete भएपछि the second most important is sleep. Second pillar. 50%, 60% is MRV नै के, which we fail to realize, and that's the importance of having somebody who knows what they're doing as a coach.
Okay. So
MRV मा मिलेपछि चाहिँ then we get into sleep. Sleep is how do I want to define sleep? It's so powerful भनौँ न. Sleep is something, हाम्रो body is like a energy reserve store नि त. So sleep गर्दा we spend the most amount of BMR भनौँ न, अघि हामीले कुरा गरेको थियौँ नि. We're spending the most amount of energy while we're falling asleep when we don't have to do anything. So that shows how important sleep is, because the body won't just let calories go away.
Okay.
So sleep is a biological necessity for every single organisms in the world, and human beings are the only one who sacrifice sleep for no particular reason.
भन्नाले
We
stay up
late.
Okay.
We wake up early.
Lifestyle wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sleep is that important, and sleep maban, there's like thousands and millions of research done on sleep and how important sleep is. Like Iktal, they had somebody not sleep for some days, and that person started like hallucinating, running away from like normal मान्छेहरुबाट भाग्दिने. And when you're sleeping, your हाम्रो body आज दिनभरिको recap जे हुन्छ नि सबै कुरा it goes on repeat के when we're sleeping. That's why we see dreams and यताउतिहरु. But sleep मा चाहिँ it repeats. So it's very important for learning as well. So तपाईं when you're sleeping, हिजो राति मैले नोट पढेर सुते भने बिहान उठ्दाखेरि it becomes even more clearer के खासमा.
Yeah.
But rather sleep instead of doing other stuff. So sleep is एकदमै important, and try to set alarm to go to the bed and not wake up भन्छु म most of the time. So like have like म यति बजे सुत्छु so I can get my required amount of sleep. म त like since I have the luxury to do it, I just freelance and आफ्नै काम हुन्छ सबै, so I never wake up with an alarm, but I sleep on my regular time and always wake up on my regular time. So and you cannot catch up on sleep. That's another very important topic as well. So हप्ताभरि 5 घन्टा सुत्यो भने लास्ट विकेन्डमा 15 घन्टा सुत्यो भने you will sleep more definitely, but you will not be able to catch up on the excess sleep that you've wasted. So sleep is very important every single day. अनि फोकसमा हाम्रो ब्रेन फङ्सन, हाम्रो लर्निङ कर्भ, हाम्रो अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ, हाम्रो स्पोकन, हाम्रो इन्टलेक्चुअल केपेबिलिटी सबै कुरा नै कम्स फ्रम स्लिप. एन्ड दिस वाज वान रिसर्च अगेन एउटा भन्छ है द्याट वाज डन अन डे लाइट सेभिङ. Daylight saving, it's not a research, but 1 घन्टा time shift हुन्छ नि त. So when people got to sleep 1 hour more, there were 24% less accidents the next morning off. So sleep is that powerful because of focus, because of all those little things हुन्छ नि.
Just 1 hour sleep.
Just 1 hour sleep. And when they lost 1 hour of sleep, there were more accidents than usual. Okay, so sleep is that important. And many ways to enhance sleep. If you want to get over it, we can come back again. But sleep is very, very important. अब मैले भन्दा important त कसरी भन्नै सकिनँ अब. So sleep is.
So many people neglect sleep. Okay?
Many people neglect sleep. अनि alarm गर्दाखेरि पनि one more thing is alarm राखेपछि एकैचोटिमा उठ्नुपर्छ क्या हामी. We shouldn't keep snoozing. अनि हाम्रो body shockमा जान्छ क्या, तर्सिन्छ क्या हाम्रो body. So it like ठ्याक्क break गरिदिन्छ sleep. So if you can wake up without an alarm, that's good. But obviously हामी त we live in the modern age. We have to reach some place on time. आज बिहानै म alarm राखेर उठेँ, but एकताल alarm राखेपछि उठिहाल्ने क्या. But if it's too difficult for you, then you have to make lifestyle choices. So you have to cut out some things to fit in sleep. So
what are you trying to say? Alarm राखेको राम्रो कि नराखेको राम्रो?
नराख्यो भने राम्रो, तर राख्यो भने पनि एकचोटिमा उठ्ने क्या. So you don't keep shocking your body बिहान. उठ्यो सुत्यो भन्दा. But if it
त्यो भयो भने के हुन्छ actually?
हाम्रो body goes into shock के, तर्सिन्छ क्या हाम्रो जिउ. And that's not good for the functions later in the day. तर अब अलार्म राख्नै पर्छ नि त. We live in the modern age. अब काम गर्नै पर्यो यताउति, अब कहाँ पुग्नुपर्छ के हुन्छ. So स्लिप चाहिँ त्यसरी राख्ने, अलार्म राख्यो भने पनि उठ्ने. But if it's too difficult, then you have to change some things so that sleep becomes more efficient. You're getting quality sleep. अनि स्लिपलाई इन्हान्स गर्नु पनि कति धेरै कुरा छ, अब एकछिनमा आउला टाइम भयो भने. बट स्लिप चाहिँ के छ स्लिपमा छैन.
मलाई अर्को एउटा कुरा छ त्यो पिरियडिक स्लिप के भन्छ नि. यु स्लिप लाइक 5 टाइम्स रेम स्लिप 20 minutes 5 times a day. सो लाइक 1 घन्टा 2 घन्टा मात्र 24 hours सुत्यो भने पुग्छ.
रेम स्लिप भनेको त्यो त एउटा होइन,
साइकल हुन्छ,
साइकलको एउटा स्टेज होइन.
डिपेस्ट पार्ट
त्यो रेम स्लिप भने होइन क्या. And people do these kind of periodic sleepsहरू where they sleep for 2 hours.
भित्र हो कि के हो?
No, pod भित्र होइन. Normally you can do this भन्ने उ हुन्छ. अनि they claim that it is more and beneficial for them than like normal 8 घन्टाको sleep के. So what they do is मैले हेरेको अनुसार चाहिँ 4 घन्टा एकचोटिमा सुत्ने and then 20 minutes को you take naps के throughout the day.
But that's not accessible in the hyperbolic chamber भन्ने अल्टिमेटली.
So सुत्ने र होइन कि normally it's like taking power naps throughout the day.
No, I don't think that's maybe like because research is so manipulative.
Yeah.
Like you can do a research on literally anything in the whole damn world, and there's over 7 billion people on earth, and कति धेरै कुरा हुन्छ. And one research can be manipulated in however way you want, based on who's funding it, based on how they made sugar look bad, based on so many things. But what we have to look at is the meta-analysis, the bigger picture, hundreds and hundreds of research that point towards a similar direction. So testo herdakheri I don't think I've come across or read anything that would say that multiple of these things supported that 4 hours of sleep is better than like a whole night's sleep. But napping is good if you can do it, if you're that stressed free and you can afford to take just like 20-second nap later, just get fresh. That's helpful. But ratiko sleep to nothing can take away from it. So त्यो दुईटा चाहिँ is important. So यो दुईटा भएन भने चाहिँ all of the above will not do anything. So first मा बुझ्यो है हामीले, training should be done under MRV, maximum recoverable volume. You should be sleeping enough. कति घण्टा सुत्ने पनि म भनेको छुइनँ, but you know when you're not, you know when you don't have enough sleep, you can feel it.
Do people have like different levels of optimum level of sleep?
Normally
8 घण्टा
8 घण्टा is like a very like यो ठुलो पोस्टरमा like broad paint brushले paint गरेर जस्तो भयो क्या. You don't get into the details of the nitty-gritty things.
Because sleep there are like different periods.
Some people, not too many people think they are one of it, but they feel like they can get away with less sleep, but उनीहरूको अरू फङ्सनहरू अफेक्ट गरिरहेको हुन्छ कि maybe they could be better off with more sleep. But like I said, you know, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're थाहा पाइहाल्छ क्या. If you need a coffee early in the morning, meaning you're definitely not sleeping enough.
So how many hours do you sleep?
म त
10 घण्टा.
No. Like if I get regular sleep because I train at a very high level and eat a lot of food, so 9 hours would be my average every day नै सोच्छु. But competition trainingहरू हुँदा कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ धेरै पनि निद आउँछ. But I don't wake up with an alarm. काम छ भने चाहिँ उठ्छु, नत्र भने चाहिँ just 8 to 9 hours चाहिँ. And it becomes very consistent pattern. If you always get enough sleep, it always becomes enough sleep.
Yeah.
It's not like कहिले 6 बजे उठ्ने कहिले 5 बजे उठ्ने. It becomes a habit क्या. त्यसपछि यो कुरा भएपछि चाहिँ then we move into nutrition. Nutrition को त हामीले सबै नै कुरा गरिसक्यो. न्युट्रिसनमा एनर्जीको हाम्रो न्युट्रिसनको त हामीले सबै कुरा गरिसक्यो. न्युट्रिसनमा चाहिँ अब हाम्रो एनर्जी ब्यालेन्स कति चाहिन्छ बेस्ड अन आवर एक्टिभिटी, एक्सर्साइज, BMR, all these things. अनि कति प्रोटिन चाहिन्छ, कति फ्याट चाहिन्छ, कति कार्ब्स चाहिन्छ. न्युट्रिसन कभर भएपछि चाहिँ then we get into the smaller little things like soft tissue mobilization भनौँ. Soft tissue mobilization has some benefits, but it's nothing without all this. So
what
this
is soft tissue mobilization? Okay.
Basically.
Okay. Simple words, okay. Massage.
So थिचेर like you open up ranges of motion, all those things. So तर तलबाटै like if
मिलाउँदै जानु पर्यो.
If you have to do that, it's good. अब भइसकेपछि त you cannot improve on past नि त. So those things help. But the physical therapist or your whoever it is should address on the other factors. What's the root cause that's causing it? Is it because मैले MRV मात्रै भने, but MRV भित्र it could depend on how you're sitting. It could depend on how your sleep was or like how you normally sleep. You might have to change some position, put a towel on your hips if you have hip pain, or like elevate your legs if you have back pain, or like सानो कुराहरूले चाहिँ affect गरिरहेको हुन्छ क्या. So we have to त्यो गरेर ठिक भएपछि पनि if you don't make other important lifestyle changes, it's going to come back again. So we have to look at the root cause of what's causing the pain. त्यसले ठिक गर्छ, but we have to come back down and fix. So is it like a range of motion thing? So squat garda, if maybe you don't want to go too deep, maybe you need to stop it with a block, or maybe you might want to change some exercise completely, which might be affecting you. So कुराहरुमा चाहिँ that becomes a part, and त्यो चाहिँ is important in athletes because sometimes अब मैले squat गर्नै पर्छ नि त. So no matter I know exactly मैले यो गर्दा यो हुन्छ, but I still have to do it. मैले सबै कुरा factors मिलाउन सक्दिनँ नि त. Then those people can come in place. So मैले अब competition मा last time I got injured 3 weeks out. I cannot stop squatting right now. So अब के हुन्छ गरे सब गरे, icing, cooling, soft tissue work, stretching, यो सबै कुरा गर्यो. But these have limitations, हैन. तर soft tissue mobilization को another benefit is there are research that are pointing towards that it could be beneficial in decreasing DOMS. DOMS भने फेरि delayed onset muscle soreness. Exercise गरेपछि sore हुन्छ नि, soreness कम गर्नुलाई चाहिँ
यसो मसाजहरु यसो गर्यो भने चाहिँ that will be reduced. Okay.
Big grain of salt here. Maybe. But the caveat to that is you're wasting time. हैन?
त्यो त गर्नु पर्यो नि त if you want some benefit.
गर्नु पर्दैन. गर्नु, it's not necessary. It's definitely not a priority. 1 घण्टाको सट्टामा maybe I could be productive just eating a better diet or adding my sleep or doing less of training, something else. But it could have potentials. And like I said, if you cannot control other variables, you cannot reduce training, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, then maybe it will have its place. But सबैजनालाई चाहिँ चाहिने कुरा होइन.
So most people have injuries and the first thing they do is see a physician or त्यस्तो उहरू, and they will do the soft tissue things and all.
But it's their duty to inform, to make necessary lifestyle changes.
Because मैले कति पनि मेरो पनि धेरैचोटि भएको छ, and like most of those physicians, they do not get touch into like sleep कसरी सुतिरहनु भएको छ or like के ट्रेन गरिरहनु भएको छ, त्यो कुराहरुमा जान्दैन. They just do what they are supposed to do. But I think like
ठिक त हुन्छ. It might come back again भनौं न.
Yeah. र त्यो तिमीले point गरेको कुरा चाहिँ makes more sense in recovery than like to obviously that does the job for like the short term handiplast laako jasto bhayo, but to actually fix it you need to fix the whole pyramid
you need to fix the whole pyramid. It's उनीहरूले थिचेर मात्रै ठिक गरिदियो भने I wouldn't say that's a good physical therapist के, because त्यो त गर्नु सक्छ, उहाँहरूको स्किल नै उहाँहरूले पढेकै त्यही हो, सो गर्नु सक्छ, बट त्यसलाई फिक्स पनि त गर्नु पर्यो नि त. सो बाहिरबाट मात्रै ठक्क मिलाएर ल है तिम्रो यो भयो, बट इफ यु स्टार्ट मुभिङ अगेन देन माइट बी अ प्रब्लम. बट मोस्ट अफ द गुड फिजिकल थेरापिस्ट उनीहरूले त्यो गरेपछि देन देल चाहिँ एटलिस्ट डु दिज एक्सर्साइजेस, सो दिस विल हेल्प सेट the new found range of motion where you were getting previously hurt. यो गरेपछि then this will set your range of motion भनेर चाहिँ it will make you stronger. यो weak भएर तिम्रो यस्तो भएको हो भनेर चाहिँ उहाँहरूले भन्छ. सो फिजिकल थेरापी अनि सफ्ट टिस्यु मोबिलाइजेसनहरू त्यहाँ छ. अनि अर्को इज स्मल लिटल वान इज आइसिङ. आइसिङले चाहिँ बेसिकली इन्फ्लेमेसन, हटले ब्लड फ्लो इन्क्रिज गर्छ, आइसिङले इन्फ्लेमेसन बर्न आउट गर्छ. बट आइसिङ पनि इज गुड when you're in off season or when it's very chronic, you cannot change anything. When icing let's say माथिबाट ब्लक गरिदिन्छ के पेन, so you can keep training longer. Most of these football players, high level athletes हरूले icing एकदमै धेरै युज गर्छ के, but it's their job to be able to be on top shape and not feel any pain नि त. So that's why they do it. तर normal मान्छेहरूको लागि चाहिँ it's not very very beneficial icing. It will give an act of recovery that might not actually be recovery. But you can do it. तर त्यो पछि चाहिँ then you have to fix the root causes of the problem. One last thing, त्यो sleep or alcohol is bad for sleep.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol is it's not sleep, it's sedation. औषधि खाएको जस्तो हो. Also like, and it has empty calories, which is also not good for
what do you mean by empty calories?
It doesn't have protein, carbs nor fat, so it doesn't have any benefit for हाम्रो performance or hormones or this and that. पहिला भन्दै नि यो कुन फुटबल प्लेयरले बियर खान्छ त्यो राम्रो हो भनेर. त्यो राम्रो होइन. He would be like most of the elite athletes do consume alcohol, but they would definitely be better off if they would.
They don't.
Yeah. So alcohol is not beneficial in any case, form, shape, size.
So you don't.
What I don't.
You don't drink or smoke or anything, eh?
Yeah, I sleep enough. I train hard, recover hard.
So,
try to learn a lot there.
All right. So I think we're coming to the end of this podcast. I think we've covered a lot of things today.
Yep.
This went in ekdamai, some parts went in much detail than we were expecting, but which is a very good thing. So हामी अब लास्टमा to wrap this all up, if you wanted people to like take away एउटा key point from this podcast, like what would you say to them?
If
people who are wanting to start out in the fitness,
just one thing for them to start, Khaligo.
So if first like start गर्ने भनेपछि something that you have to be able to do it नै गर्नु पर्यो. And if you have a big dream or something, then it's definitely going to be hard. I won't say it's going to be easy. And if the dream you're chasing doesn't have setbacks, or if it doesn't have hardships, days you feel like shit and you just want to lie down and do nothing, days you feel like you don't want to work at all, then it's not a dream worth having. So keep chasing hard. अब एकदमै सजिलोसँग त केही पनि हुँदैन नि त. So keep pursuing everything that you do. And yeah, that's it. Don't give up. Have a hero mentality. Don't think everything around you is a problem and you're the victim. And everything is a choice in life. You make your choices. Even if you don't have choices or control over all your choices, you have the control to change how you react to certain things, and there will be setbacks. It's just another step up. And yeah, thank you for having me. Let me ramble for so long.
Thank you so much for being here. And that is the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for being here and educating us on all of these very important topics. And we will see him again pretty soon, we hope. And we'll get into more detail. Till then, thank you and
Bye.
Bye-bye.